Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to the Business Innovators Radio Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Brown. I'm very excited about today's guest. We are going to learn some really incredible information about this young entrepreneur. My guest today is Miss Eva Hanifi. Eva is president and CEO of a pair of franchises in Northern California, Water Warehouse, which provides clean water treatment solutions in and around the California capital of Sacramento, and Go Minis of Sacramento. Go Minis is one of the fastest growing portable storage and moving companies in the country right now. Eva cites some exceptional strategic management skills and a keen understanding of the SBA, the Small Business Administration, lending process for her success with her franchise. Eva, welcome to the show.
Hi. Well, thank you, Rick. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So I really, I wanted to save some of the bio on you to let you explain about your background. And let me set this up a little bit. And this is why I'm so excited. This is an incredible story. So Eva has probably a little different background than many, if not most of us out there trying to do the entrepreneurial thing here in the U.S. and specifically in Sacramento. By the way, we're somewhat of neighbors in the Sacramento region here. We're right down the road from one another, which is pretty cool. So let's just start this off, Eva, by having you talk about your background, and feel free to kind of start from the beginning.
My name is Zarifa Hanifi. I go by Eva. I was born in Kabul, Afghanistan in 1985. I'm a fortunate war survivor, and that war happened when the Taliban took over in 1998. And I was a young girl that still remembers the dark memories of hiding under our house in a tunnel to survive all the disaster that was happening. And I remember my parents were saying we need to get out of Afghanistan, but they wanted to go to the neighboring country, Pakistan. We somehow managed it. My grandfather somehow went to Germany. And in my heart, I wanted to go to Germany as a little girl. And my parents were like, okay, this war will end. We will come back to our house and all the businesses we own. And unfortunately, that never happened. But I was lucky enough to get out of Afghanistan still being alive, and with my siblings. We were one of the luckiest families. We left the airport, and that was the last flight going to Poland. I still have aunts that still live there. One of them also passed away in a bomb, and she was telling us that we were so lucky when the flight took off, they shut down the airport.
Wow.
Yes. So that was a scary situation for my whole family. We lost a lot of family members in that war. A lot of orphan aunts and uncles passed away. A lot of little cousins were left behind. And we're so fortunate. I mean, that's one of the setting points in my life where I always thank to God. I'm like, as a woman, that I'm alive and that I'm in a different country, like not in Afghanistan, is one of the blessings that God bestowed me. And one of the things that happened to us also on the way of immigration, we landed in Poland. My uncle's friend picked us up, and back then you could just walk into Germany. The borders were not really borders, they were free Europe. So we went to Germany, we met my grandfather. We walked through the woods at night. It was very dark, and we managed to get to my grandpa in Germany. And from there, I had a little challenge too, learning a new language, which German is very hard, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And so I speak 5 languages, which that's also a good thing that I went through those countries, and those countries taught me different lessons.
What are the 5 languages?
I speak German, I speak Farsi, I speak Urdu from India, I speak Spanish and French.
Very impressive.
And you won't be able to graduate in a German school unless you speak those 3 other languages. So for me, I always had a little rough time wherever I went, because first of all, I was not the German-looking girl. I was not blonde. I am proud Afghan. So I always had a little discrimination, like when they would say, go back home. And I'm like, what does that go back home mean? Until I finally realized one day that they're saying, go back to your country. So those stuff happened to me, but
what does that do to your sense of self and your psyche? Number one, you're having to evacuate your home, your country,
yes,
because of war, trying to seek refuge in another country, a safe haven, if you will. And then you meet people like that are telling you to go back to where you came from. What does that do to you, especially as a young girl, young woman?
I became stronger. Luckily, back then, I didn't understand it very well, which was another blessing. I didn't took it that seriously because I thought, oh, they're just teasing me to just go to my house. I didn't know what home meant. So that was a good thing, actually. But now, like 30 years later, I realized that what that meaning is, which I'm like, okay, I'm glad that I didn't understand it back then. And it hurts because I had to start where my parents couldn't help me with my homework, which is good because I challenged myself. That's another lesson. When I don't know anything, I challenge myself in business too, to do it by myself. A lot of people are there to help you, but then if you can't learn something or you're getting some kind of no, it challenges you to do better. And what I did as an Afghan immigrant, I excelled in school because I had to, Like my teachers would give me as a sample, like, look at Zarifa, she is a foreign person, but she got an A or something. And then my classmates were looking at me, they're like, oh, wow, yeah, that's true. So those little moments helped me a lot because I see that I succeeded. And then I always had a vision of myself being a person that goes back and helps other women, helps less fortunate Afghan women. Well, that is still one of my goals to once when I fully can give, I still go give back, but then I want to go back in Afghanistan and show the woman that you can be whoever you want to be. Don't take no for an answer. And,
is there any, do you hold any fear of returning back to Afghanistan?
I faced that fear. I went in 2007 when I got married. I went back there. I was crying and shaking the first time because all the stuff that you see on TV, it hit me home. And I remembered as a child, I thought it's fireworks, but they were bomb and rockets. So when you go as an adult back and you see everything has changed, I tried to find my home and I couldn't find my home. Everything has changed. So wow. I started panicking and crying, but the people were so kind. Afghans are so kind. You won't believe it. All human, I think everywhere you go, human beings are super nice. Even Europe, United States, there is always going to be different people. But generally, human beings are really nice, no matter in which country you go. So for me, when I went back, I was surprised actually in 2007. I was really surprised. I started a school in a village for Afghan girls where my husband comes from. They have still family in Herat. We started a little school and that school is flourishing. And we always help out once a year. We send donations and all kinds of supplies to them in that village. It's far away because people in Afghanistan live in mountainous areas. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of access. And then we do a lot of gatherings for them. Like once every quarter, we send food supplies. My husband has brothers there that we can always direct, please go to the village. And it's a fruit garden. So people don't know that there's a school in it. It's in a disguise. It's a 4 or 5 acre fruit garden with high walls. And my father-in-law and me, we just had this vision that we need to build in that village a school. And that vision came to life in 2007. And then in 2011, I went back there again. And I'm hoping to adopt a little Afghan girl, so to give her the same freedom that I am getting here. And to just give hope to the human beings in Afghanistan that this war is going to end. And I want to go back home. And I want my kids to go back home, my 3 little boys, because believe it or not, Afghanistan was a very, very good country, and people would go for sightseeing. It's a beautiful country, good weather, good food, great people. So that said, I'm very grateful that I'm alive. Yes.
Yeah, gosh, I bet it's just mind blowing, kind of what you've had to go through, especially as a young girl. So you mentioned that you went through Poland, you ended up in Germany. Yes. What did you do in Germany? Is this where you went to school?
Yes, I went to school there until grade 11. Then I had another dream. I wanted to be a pilot. I went for exchange student to Toronto, Canada, and I was a year there. That's when I met my husband, and we married in 2007, and I moved to Alexandria, Virginia in DC. I lived there for 4 years, and in 2011, that's when we started going back because I wanted to go back and give back to my country. And we lived in Afghanistan another year, and we came back to California 6 years ago. My son was 9 months old. We came to San Francisco, and we just ended up at a friend's house in Roosevelt, and we purchased Water Warehouse in June 2015. And that was one of our best decisions we could ever made, with the help of SBA and SBDC. The advisors, they helped us kind of the vision of business plan and writing everything down and getting a loan. And we got the loan. And when we purchased the business, we didn't know a lot about it. But giving clean water and providing good service to people, that businesses actually flourished so much that when I came from maternity leave after my third boy, that we could buy another franchise.
That is incredible.
Yes.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit then about those franchises that you own. Tell us a little bit more about them and how you are helping your clients through those businesses.
For my first Water Warehouse, Sacramento, we provide clean water and water filtration systems in-house, because the water in Elk Grove and Sacramento is very hard and contaminated with chlorine and all kinds of byproducts. So that's where, when we bought the Water Warehouse, we focused more providing people with clean water at their fingertips, because we live in the first country in the nation. We should have all these stuff as a necessity. Clean water is what you put in your body. It reflects all over your mind. And every system we sell, we take a certain percentage and we send it back to Afghanistan. We build wells in Afghanistan because the mountainous areas, they have stone and they cannot get water easily. They get it with mules, and it's hard. So we try to go and build wells in people's neighborhoods so they can get clean water.
What is it that compels you to do that?
This is because we are blessed here. We when we go back to a different country, you see how blessed you are. And then money and all the stuff that we have here, we want to accumulate, And that's, for me, giving makes me so happy when I see those little girls or boys or families having clean water. That makes me sleep and smile, and that makes me feel good. Even my sons, when they don't eat their food here, I tell them, boy, you're lucky that you are eating this food. And they're like, why, mommy? Because you're saying in Afghanistan they don't have food. And then they start eating their food and they're thankful that they have something on the plate. Or I let them go. I'm like, you know what? You don't eat this. Go one night hungry and see how it feels. We do this so they can get the feeling of being grateful.
And they eat their vegetables too?
They eat their vegetables. They eat their vegetables.
Okay, so let's talk about Go Minis of Sacramento. What is that one about?
Go Minis, we provide portable storage to customers that are moving, that need storage in between. We have bigger containers. We bring the containers out. They fill it out at their leisure. Since I moved so many times in my life, I want to take that fear away from people when they're moving, make it easier on them. Like, they have a month time to fill the container. We make it easier. All the stresses that I went through my own life, moving, letting stuff away, just giving stuff, or taking not a lot of content with me, with these containers, they actually can store all their content. And if they're military, they're moving out of the country, we'll take care of it for them. Or if they're moving across Sacramento, we have helpers that help them load the containers and unload it. So we are making move stress-free and storage stress-free. Yes.
So again, these are a couple of franchise companies that you now own a piece of. How did you decide to go that route with franchises?
Actually, in the beginning, I wanted to go solo. I was about to just start this all on my own. And because everything else was taken, as a woman, sometimes you get creative. I always want to do stuff that I also can do. Like, I don't want my employees to do a job that I wouldn't do. So I chose this whole system if I even would have gone by myself. But then at the last minute, I saw this opportunity of GoMini's territory being open, and they have the same containers, the same delivery system. And I said, why invent the wheel? Why I shouldn't just go with them, because they're also a bigger brand. Then I don't have to worry building a brand, because, you know, in business, if you want to build a brand, it's going to take you at least 3 to 4 years. And GoMini saved me all those 3-4 years of hard work of making patenting and everything. So I got very lucky to be part of this franchise. They're like a family. We have a group, a mastermind group that tries to help each other, all the other regions. We give to each other advice how to be successful. And they're very, very helpful in that situation too, that I'm not alone in this.
So as part of getting into these franchises, you worked with the Small Business Administration, right?
Yes.
And what is that process like for folks who haven't been through it or maybe looking at it? What is that like?
That process is actually amazing. Anyone that needs to get into business, I would highly recommend to go to SBA or SPDC Sacramento. They have some great advisors like Panda Morgan. She is an amazing lady. You can talk to them. They will show you how the numbers work. They will give you a 3-year business plan. They want to make you aware that you can be successful. And that process actually helps you get the loan, because you have to come with a down payment. But if you don't have a solid understanding of the business, the bank won't give you a loan. So the SBDC or SBA prepare you for all kinds of scenarios, so the bank easily guarantees you the loan. So you have a higher chance of getting a larger loan up to $5 million to run a business with the help of SBA and SBDC.
What is maybe kind of your best tip for somebody who's taking a look at working with the SBA or going to them? Is there something that they should take into that process?
They should just take action, because some people just wait and think somebody's going to do for them. You have to take action. You have to have ownership, because nobody's going to come after you. So you go ask for help, and they will make sure they help you. And then when you apply for the loan, you want to prepare yourself in a way that you are proactive. Once the loan is submitted, you don't sit and relax. You are constantly going to check on them. That shows how interested you are in your business to get it off the ground, which that's my drive. When I start the process, I give myself goals, like weekly goals, then monthly goals, and daily goals. And I am on the top of it. So usually the process is 3 months, but I close both loans. I closed within 30 days or 60 days the max. You have to be proactive to go after your business, and you have to take action. And they provide you a lot of help. They have a lot of 1, 2, 3 steps. So you go and follow those steps. They make it very easy.
You don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going.
Exactly. You're so right. That's my inspiration.
And especially here where you're dealing with the Small Business Administration, and you also mentioned the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center.
Yeah.
In working with them, that holds even more truth, because they are going to help you through that process.
Yes.
And teach you some of those things that you need to understand about getting the small business loan, et cetera, right?
Yes. And they have coaches. I have a coach. Her name is Coach Linda Bigler. And they have all kinds of help to make you successful, to understand all the steps. They want you to succeed. Their goal at SBA and SBDC is they want you to succeed. So they provide you with a lot of help and a lot of knowledge, which is valuable. All these advisors are former business owners. So when I looked at a lot of opportunities, and I would take them to one of the advisors and we would dissect it and see if it's a good business or not. Many times I find a business, I have another partner that I closely work with. His name is Nick Van Dyke and Al Teal. They understand the financials of the businesses, and any business that I want to purchase, I talk to them and they look at it and they're like, Zarifa, this is a good choice. You should do it. And we have a think tank where we meet. It's small but mighty. Me, my husband, and Nick, and another friend, we meet and we talk about ideas, what business we could do that would help people solve a problem and be of help. We always want to help people. We want to solve a problem. You have to always solve a problem. If you can solve a problem, you got yourself a business. If you're not in it, you can't win it. I'm a risk taker, which is a good idea actually, because you have to take risks in life. If you don't take risks, you don't know.
Yeah, and how can you not be a risk taker with your background? I mean, that's just inherent in your DNA, I would think, just based on everything that you have experienced. So, yeah. So having gone through all of this, being driven out of your home country as a young girl, going to Poland, going to Germany, making your way to the United States, a sharp young female entrepreneur who has now 2 franchise businesses under her belt. What's next?
Oh my God, you don't want to know that though.
Take over the world.
Yes. So my vision for myself and my family is to help as many people in United States or in Afghanistan. Whenever I get in contact with a person that is successful, or she's not happy or something is wrong, and I say, come on, I will tell you something. I will give you 3 steps until the end of the month. And they look at me like, what do you mean? I say, follow these 3 steps and come back and tell me how you feel. First step, call SBDC, set an appointment. Second step, look for a problem that you want to solve. Third step, write your business plan. And they're like, I don't have the money. I'm like, don't worry about the money. You will never, if you think like that, you will never get action going on. The money will come. Once you have a 1, 2, 3 down, the money will come and you can achieve your goals. So my goal is for United States to have at least another 100 women to start their own business. And in Afghanistan, my goal is to provide for young girls education and a strong force for them to get and jump into the workforce. Not just get married at a young age, not settle for less, don't take no for an answer. There's a lot of hurdles those women face, but they need an inspiring person or somebody to go to them and tell them, girls, we can do it. In Afghanistan, there has been a lot of successful women, believe it or not. There was the queen. We had a queen that was also for poetry, literacy. She encouraged Afghan women to be artists and go out. And Islam is one of our religions, but they embrace it and make it to a modern. Afghanistan was a very modern country before the war. My mom and my aunts used to go to a university like United States. But when the war started, everything stopped. So I want to bring that kind of life back to Afghanistan, like the Queen Soraya. Afghan history is very, very unique and important, and I want to bring back those days alive. When I hear my mom's stories, I want to relive those days in my country myself, because it's all history for me. When I go over there, I'm like thinking, oh, my mom used to say she went there, and I would go there and experience that same experience, because in my heart, I'm still Afghan. Even though I lived in all those countries, but I still have an empty place. When my family over there, they do festivals, I always feel like I miss being home, And also for me, since I move a lot, that's another successful thing, because if you can accept change, I accept change. I like change. People should be willing to love change. We are always scared of change, but in the past few years, I learned that accepting change as a normal part of your life will make you more successful. Because when you see in nature, we have 4 seasons. We have the storms, we have the beautiful spring, we have this beautiful hot summer of California that I love, and the winter, So in life, we should also accept changes.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You get stagnant without change.
Yeah.
And people get so used to just kind of being in this box and having the same thing and expecting the same things to happen every single day. And of course, there's the old saying that craziness is doing the same thing every day and expecting something different to happen, and just doesn't work that way. So you need change. I will agree with that. Let me ask you this. I don't know if this is going to be kind of a tough question or not, but everything that you've been through on the road to entrepreneurship,
yes,
surely you've made some mistakes. Right, it's just part of it. And I believe we learn more from our mistakes quite often than we do from our successes. So has there been anything in your entrepreneurial journey where you made a big mistake, but you learned from and carry with you today?
Mistake is a good thing to be made, because once you make it, you learn from it. But actually, I'm glad that I didn't buy a store in San Diego. I was about to buy a store in San Diego, a water store. Back then, I was so sad and broken that I didn't buy that store. But now when I look back, I'm so happy that I didn't do that, because now I wouldn't have been here at this other opportunity. So you have to give it time. You won't realize that mistake until it's like a year later, where you're actually grateful that you didn't do that,
Yeah, and I believe you're always right where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Things happen, and I'm not saying everything is predestined, but I think that you're right where you're supposed to be. And if you kind of have that outlook, you will realize that you are going to take lessons from every point in your life and in your journey. And they're lessons that need to be learned in order to get you where you're going to be. Does that make sense?
Yes. That makes so much sense. And for me, also the American dream is still a mystery, which I make it alive. I had a situation in Germany where a teacher was making a joke about the American dream becoming a nightmare. Right then and there in that classroom, I was in 12th grade. It was international politics we were studying. I'm like, boy, oh boy, somehow my heart said, I'm going to prove that teacher wrong. And believe it or not, when I married my husband, we always talked about owning our own business. And I said to myself, that question of my teacher would go always through through me. And when he would say the American dream is a nightmare, and I was like, I'm going to prove that guy wrong. So once I'm in this, I feel so excited to go back to him and say, guess what? The American dream still works. It works. So I'm going actually, to tell you the truth, in April for my brother's wedding. And that teacher, Germany is a little town. So that teacher, I know where he lives, and he's a good guy. He's such a good guy. So I'm just going to go and prove it to him and to myself that, hey, look, as an Afghan woman, I am successful within 4 years or 5 years. You just have to believe in yourself and go for it.
Those are great words of wisdom. And on that note, let me ask you this. How can folks get a hold of you if they're looking for some water solutions, some storage solutions, or just want to chat with you in general about your journey to starting your own businesses?
Find us on the www.gominis.com for the portable storage solutions. And then My second business, Water Warehouse, they can find us at info@waterwarehousesacramento.com.
Are you on social media at all?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn under Zarifa Eva Hanifi and on Facebook too.
Awesome. We'll share all of your contact details in the description of the show right underneath the show, so people will have access to that as well. Eva Hanifi, CEO of 2 Sacramento franchise businesses, the Water Warehouse and Go Minis of Sacramento. An incredible story, Eva, very inspirational. It's been an absolute pleasure to get to know a little bit about you and to chat. And really, I just thank you for sharing your journey and your story. I think it's going to help a lot of people just understand that there's very little that should hold you down, and you're living proof of that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that I talked to you, Rick, and I wish a lot of people that they come to their potential, start daily routines, and by the time you know it, you're in business.
That's great. Thank you very much, Eva. This is the Business Innovators Radio Podcast. I am your host, Rick Brown. Until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.